Hello, Internet. Thank you once again for joining me to talk all things vertical drama. And I have found one of the brightest stars around to talk to, who's the amazing Cayla Brady. Um, I'm going to ask Cayla just to give a little intro of herself to you, and then I'll ask her all the questions.
Amazing. Thanks for having me, Jen. I'm so lucky and honored to be here with you this morning. Well, morning for me, early evening for you. Hi, everyone. My name is Cayla Brady. I'm an actress. I'm from a lot of places. I was born in Michigan, raised in Florida. I live in LA now. I've moved around a lot. Um, yeah, I've been acting since I was 7 or 8 and got into verticals last October. It's almost been a year. It's so wild how my life has changed. And yeah, I think that's my main introductions. You may know me from Don't Miss Me When I'm Gone, The Quarterback Next Door, um, a bunch of other projects too.
So, young Cayla, you said you're
Yes.
acting from the age of 7. Where did that come from? Is it in your family, or is it just you? Was there a show you did at school that you were like, this is what I need to be doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's just me. No one else in my family acts or does anything artistic at all. Yeah, took the sports route first growing up and sort of always kept that, but my sister was like the sporty one. So she played soccer. I tried to follow in the footsteps a little bit, but I just wasn't enjoying it as much. And then I remember in middle school, or no, elementary school, taking a drama class at my elementary school. And I had so much fun just playing games, and then we did a production of The Three Little Pigs, and I was the brick pig. And I
Oh,
remember so vividly loving being on stage and people watching me. And then every production that my school did from then on, I did every year. And then I got into theater, and then it got into film and television a little later on.
so did you have a mum who was great at costumes? Because that's often what's needed when you do these shows.
I wish. And when I tell you, like, my family does nothing artistic, like, my family does nothing artistic. Like, my mom is she does taxes. She has a tax business. She has accounting. And my dad's the same. And then he was also in the military. He was in the Air Force, and then was a air traffic controller as well. And then, yeah, my sister's a scientist. So it's,
Wow. So like really
yeah, no one
analytical
does anything.
brains.
It's uh-huh. Yeah, definitely. Definitely they all have the brains, and I have more of like the, I don't know, outgoing like personality and just like creative mind for things,
Oh.
for sure.
So once you start acting, what was your first paid job?
Probably Dolphin Tale. The very first film and television project I ever did was called Dolphin Tale. It's a true story about a dolphin in Florida who got its tail caught in a crab trap. And they ended up having to amputate the tail because it was so damaged. And then dolphins can't really live without their tails. And so a prosthetic doctor came and built her a prosthetic tail that she would wear to keep her spine intact. And then they made a movie about it. And it was filming in Florida. And I went to audition to be an extra. And I waited in line with my mom for like 3 hours. And when I got to the front of the line, they were like, wow, you look so much like our lead. Do you have any interest in being more than an extra? And then I came back like 2 weeks later to another meeting with a bunch of girls who all looked like me. It was like 10, I think I was 11 at the time, 10 like 11-year-olds who all looked like me. And literally the director and hairstylist and costume designer all just stood in front of us and like touched our hair and like looked us up and down. It was a very weird situation. But yeah, and then I worked on that for 3 months, and yeah, was on set every day for 3 months. It was so wild.
Wow. And do you remember? I know obviously you've got incredibly sensible parents who do tax,
Hmm.
so I'm sure they were
Hmm.
very sensible. But was there like a thing that you were like able to buy, or like first paycheck went towards like a little memento?
I remember, well, a lot of the paychecks when kids get paid for film and TV go into what's called a Coogan account. And it's basically an account that's set up for the kid that they cannot touch until they turn 18. Like no one can touch it except for them when they turn 18. So it's like a way to make sure that parents like aren't taking the money and stuff. I just remember my dad bragging about me having to file a tax return at age 12. My dad would tell everyone, he still does. Every time we meet new people, he's like, yeah, my daughter's been working for such a long time. She had to file a tax return at 12. I'm like, okay, Dad, that's cool flex. I didn't understand it, but actually it is pretty cool that I had to do that at such a young age.
It's really cool, and it's even funnier because my husband manages a firm of accountants, so he will find that hilarious.
Yes.
So yes, one for the accountants. We like the jokes. For the tax people, we have to
Love the accountants. Are you kidding me? Without my mom, I don't know what I would do with myself. Without both of my parents filing my taxes. I'm like, guys, please teach me. I'm like, God forbid something ever happens and I don't know how to do my taxes. I'm like, that would be really stressful.
I feel you. The only reason I can run my own business is because my husband can.
Exactly.
Deal
It's
with the
so
scary
nice having someone
spreadsheet stuff.
Exactly. Someone to handle the financials is super important. Yeah. I don't know what I would do without them.
So when you reached 18, what did you do then? Did you stay with acting? Did you decide to study? What did you do next?
I was all over the place, Jen. I mean, so I did Dolphin Tale and then I did Dolphin Tale 2. And in between, I just went back to middle school, just, my normal middle school life. And then my freshman year of high school. Then after my freshman year of high school, I decided to be homeschooled. And finally, my parents were like begging for me to be homeschooled since Dolphin Tale because they wanted me to like fully pursue acting. They were like ready. And I was like, no, I want to be normal. So and then I did Dolphin Tale 2. And then I moved out to LA probably when I was like 16 or 17. My mom was there half of the time. And then the other half, I was just fully living by myself in Los Angeles at 16 and going to my auditions, going to acting class, all of that. And then, yeah, after a couple of years in LA, I just like, I felt too independent, if that makes sense. Like I missed being with my parents, and they actually moved from Florida to Arizona to be closer to me when I was living in LA. So then I moved in with them when I turned 18 again. I moved out of LA into Arizona and then lived there for a year. And then I went to university. And then honestly, like wasn't really doing much acting up until last year.
What did you study at university?
I was an English major.
Ooh.
So a lot of writing. Yeah. My focus was composition and rhetoric. I was potentially going to go to law school, and then COVID happened, and I have an LSAT prep book, actually. I can see it right now, that I sometimes just crack open and just I like the idea of studying for like the law for a law test. But I don't know if I ever will. But yeah.
It's always there. It's always an option.
It is always there. It's such a fun thing. I mean, I'd love to learn how to practice law. I think that would be the fun part for me. Maybe not like having it as a full-time job, but knowing how the law works and how being a lawyer works still appeals to me. So we'll see.
I love that. So my next question is obviously you finish and graduate. How does acting pull you back in?
So once again, yeah, I mean, I was not really acting at all. I was so focused on university. And then when I graduated in 2020, which was when COVID started, and moved in with my uncle who lives out here. I lived with him for a year and then moved in with some friends the following year and was there for like 3 years, but still was not acting. It was just like I was in college still for that whole time. I had all my college friends and yeah, it was just like the only way I can describe it is just like I was just living life for those years.
Mm.
Like I wasn't really thinking about my future necessarily. I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I feel like COVID kind of had that effect on everyone as well, where it was just kind of like, what is life right now?
Mm.
Um, and it sort of just got back to like normalcy, I'd say in the past like year or two, at least for me. But I still was working in entertainment. I was working at Paramount or Nickelodeon. I was doing marketing for them for 3.5 years. And everyone there knew that I had an acting background, but like I did get a cool opportunity from Paramount, which was Nickelodeon has or they used to, I don't really know if they do anymore, but they have a program for kids called Nick News, where it's like a news program that like teaches kids about the world. And the CEO of Nickelodeon wanted to revive it, and I ended up being a host as part of my marketing job there. Yeah. So that was a super fun thing. And then that sort of died down. And so I just went back more into like marketing. And then I moved to Arizona again
Mm.
last summer. I just was like done with LA. Honestly, I thought about quitting acting. Um, I wasn't pursuing it at all in any capacity. And I was like, what am I doing? So I
Mm.
was like, I'm going to move to Arizona because I have friends there. And then randomly I got a audition for a vertical, and then was traveling back and forth between Arizona and California up until May when I moved back to Los Angeles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So the question of vertical. So if people don't know, that vertical was Quarterback Next Door.
Yeah.
What is it about verticals that hooked you back in? So what was it about filming that made you go, this is what I meant to do, rather than, yeah, not so sure.
I mean, I think I always knew that I wanted to act. I just didn't know what it would look like for me, because when I started acting, it was a very different world than what it is now. I mean, every audition I had was in person. It was really rare to have self-tapes
Mm.
at home when I started. And so, um, yeah, it was just a very unique experience. And also being a child doing that, was very different as well. You're going out for different roles, and the type of acting you're doing is very different. It's very Disney
Mm.
kind of style of acting. I wasn't a big child actor by any means, but I was like a child actor. And so I think that sort of offset me a little bit
Mm.
and made me wonder like how I was going to find a place here again. And then when I got Quarterback Next Door, I was like, sure, like I'll do it. I don't really know what this is going to be like or anything. But I just sort of handled it the way that I knew how, the way that like I just had when I was younger. You just go to set and you read the lines and you get in the costumes and you do whatever, you got to do. And I just had such a good time on that set and made such amazing friends and memories, and the snowball just like started from there, honestly. Like verticals have sort of been I like to think of them as a bull that I'm riding and like gripping by like the horns, It's like not that verticals are necessarily trying to like buck me off, but it's
Mm.
acting, and so it's a very like volatile business anyway. And yeah, I just haven't let go, and I don't plan on it.
You're basically along for the ride. That's
Exactly.
kind of,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't think anyone really knows what the future of these are going to be, because there's so many different ways that they could go, and they're sort of still finding their footing. Um, and I sense a shift coming as well, which I think is a good thing too. So,
Okay, so Quarterback Next Door is probably one
yeah,
of the iconic YA high school verticals.
it is.
But then what I love about that is rather than going straight into another one, the next one I think you did is Avenging Heiress Plunged into Darkness, which is totally different.
Totally different.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind
And
of
that was one
thriller, it's
where
action, it's really,
so
really good. I think it's an underrated
wild.
vertical.
I think so too.
Mm.
Definitely. Yeah, I had such a good time on that set too. Um, but I also remember not being prepared for how different it was going to be.
Mm.
Um, I think going from playing such a young character in Quarterback Next Door to then having to take on this like CEO murder mystery kind of role was truthfully a very difficult shift for me, and one that I didn't really prepare for or didn't really know how to prepare for. Yeah, I remember crying a couple times on that set just because I was so like frustrated with myself. I like didn't know, I didn't think I was doing a good job. And coming off of the high of like Quarterback where it just everything felt so perfect. It was a shift for sure.
Because the other thing I think about Avenging Heiress is it was one of the early ones where it got more ambitious with the stunts. Because I mean, you have a big stunt at the beginning, don't you, with
Huge.
buildings, like big
Mhm.
stunt, and then Noah Fernley. I think that's one of the more extended fight scenes he gets to do in a vertical, and I'm sure
So
you get
many.
this as well. It's and you almost now it's like that still feels ambitious when you look at how verticals have gone since then.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I haven't done one with that many stunts. I mean, I was completely hooked up. Let me actually just try to find this picture for you. But I was completely, I think I actually put it in you might have seen it. I think it's in my
Soon you'll meet the
getting.
creators.
Yes.
Yes,
It's,
on the
yeah, yeah.
website, people. We'll put a link
Yes,
in.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, yeah. I'm like, I don't know if I can find it. But I, no, I'll find it just because I feel like it's such a, I love looking at this picture. Um, when was that? Oh, I see. Okay. I mean, I was completely hooked up to a crane, like, oh, where is it? Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is a video, but
Wow,
this was the situation that we had.
I mean
And
that's phenomenal.
I think he falls at the end of this. Yeah, I know. Right. And honestly, we were super surprised by by the green screening that they were able to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got the full. We got the full. Amazing.
The full fall. I know,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, there was actually a take where when he fell, he swung back a little too far, and his head actually ended up hitting the ground.
Wow.
We like all freaked out. He was fine, but he like fell, his body hit the mat, but then his head rebounded onto the ground, and it was very, very scary. But yeah, that was a crazy one, being all in my, because I was in a full harness under this like Chanel set in the heels. Like that's such a, it's
It's
honestly
brilliant.
kind of iconic.
And
The
in
fact that I'm
white as
like,
well, because obviously the practical look for stunts.
of course. Oh, that outfit got so dirty after that. We were like, do we have doubles for this? And they were like, no. I was like, awesome. That's great, on a black wall. And it was so hot that day too. It was terrible, but it was a really, really fun shoot. Yeah. Full of stunts and definitely a character I'd love to play again, especially now. For sure.
So I have to ask you about then what I would call your sweet romances.
Hmm.
Okay. Because In Love with My Taken Boss
Yeah.
and then Virgin Surrogate for the Billionaire, I think despite having really different titles and really different meet cutes,
Yeah.
I'm essentially just two really sweet, shy people falling in love despite the vertical madness around them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you I think you're really fond of them. I'm really fond of them.
Definitely. I mean, I love a rom-com. I always have. They're some of my favorite movies are rom-coms. Like 13 Going on 30 was a big one for me growing up. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Even like The Breakfast Club, like those ones are,
Mm.
I love those kinds of movies and I always have. So I think I just naturally gravitate towards those and just I have such a good time in those environments. But I have been very lucky that I've been gifted some really, really cute ones. And then I had one come out recently that I don't think I sent to you, but it's called Daisy Tucker and Mr. NYC,
Yeah.
which I don't know if you've watched it, but it has like a very similar feel to those as well.
I
It's a
saw a
very
little bit. You get to ride a horse in that.
yeah, right in the beginning. I know. I was terrified riding that horse. I
Had
was
you
so
ridden
scared.
before? Have you?
I have, but more as a like something you do with friends, like, oh, let's go horseback riding, or like my family, like we went horseback riding when I was younger to the Hollywood sign.
Yeah.
So stuff like that and very casually. But this time they wanted me to like gallop and fully control the horse and almost no prep time, which was very frustrating in some ways, but it ended up being great, and the horse's handlers were very, very helpful and kind. So I
And
had a great
it's
time.
great as a viewer because it's just adding to the ambition in verticals. About, yeah, of course,
It
why
really
wouldn't we have someone riding
is.
a horse? You know, that character's going to be on a horse. So,
For sure. Yeah. I know it's so interesting though, because it's like right in the beginning and then never again. Like she
that's
does.
the money
There's
shot, people. You've seen that.
exactly. There's almost no mention of the horse like the rest
Mm.
of the time. Um, there's actually a line at the very end that I added because I was like, I haven't mentioned the horse one time since the beginning of this vertical. And it's like at the very end where I think he proposes to me, spoiler, and but we're already married, so it's really interesting. But and then I'm like, no, I want us to have a real wedding, and I want you to meet my parents, and we'll go back to Wyoming. And then I added a line about lightning missing him, and
Yeah.
um,
That was
and
one
I
for
was
the
like,
animal lovers of like, I am still pregnant with a
exactly.
horse. Don't worry, everyone.
Yeah. I was like, we can't just forget about this horse. I'm like, this horse is her whole life. She has like a whole conversation with it in the beginning, just
Oh,
like the two of them. Um, so yeah, I'm glad that we were able to
I
bring
love
that
that
back.
you got that in. That's how much
Yeah.
ability do you have that on set to just add in a few little bits and bobs like that? That for
It
you,
really depends. I'm very vocal about wanting to add things. And I work best with directors and productions that allow me to sort of have my own creative freedom with the character and with the lines and stuff, because especially on these verticals, as you know, I'm sure many people have talked about, but their writing's not always fluid. Like it
no,
doesn't always sound correct, and so it's
no.
nice when you're able to shift the words but keep the same meaning. And most directors I found have been pretty accepting of that. And I remember like specifically on Virgin Surrogate for the Billionaire, Grace Park was our director, and she is one of my favorite directors I've ever worked with. And her and I would just go like back and forth talking like, what if I did this? What if like this happened in this like intimacy scene? Like what if like my bra strap came off and like I picked it back up, or like it's just little things like that.
Yeah.
Or his hand like grabs my hair or like something like that. And it's like little details, but I really, really thrive when I'm able to try things. And I've had pretty great success with it on sets.
Does that
So
fulfill like the creative part of you? Just being able to
definitely.
really lean into who you think the character is and how you think it would.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it flows naturally to me. I don't sit there like, ooh, okay, what can I bring up on set to like,
Yeah.
you know, to change the story or to like seem like
Yeah.
I am taking control of the project. It's just when you're in the moment and you're in the character, you're in the situation, like you just experiment with things and see what
Yeah.
works, sort of. It's like throwing, what is it? Like throwing something at the wall and like just seeing what sticks,
I'd
sort
say
of
it's like
thing.
when you're in the flow. It sounds like
Exactly.
you're in the flow
Yeah,
and you're really identifying with where that character is. And you're like, oh, this would work. And I would say that's
exactly.
just excitement and joy of the process.
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah. It's definitely joy of the, yeah, I 100% agree with that. It happens when I'm feeling the best on set. So,
You've been
yeah.
pregnant quite a lot in verticals.
Yeah.
It you
Yeah.
seem to like to.
Yeah, I honestly, I think I've only worn the pregnancy belly once, and I think it was for Virgin Surrogate. I don't think I've worn it otherwise. I'm so glad I don't have to. I love when I'm pregnant and it just like happens, and I either just have the baby or it like cuts to me having the
Yeah.
baby, because wearing those pregnancy bellies is so annoying, especially in a lot of the outfits that they make you wear. When you're just in like an oversized, like a dress, it's fine. But especially on Virgin Surrogate, I was wearing this like these 90s kind of outfits, like low rise jeans um, and sometimes even like crop tops, sort of. And it was just constantly having to adjust the pregnancy belly. It was not fun.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I was like, like shoving it into the pants, like trying to keep it in place. I'm like, stay in my pants.
And presumably quite hot as well. Just
Yeah.
yeah.
Once you take that off, and everyone wants to wear it and touch it too. And I'm like, okay, I know how like pregnant people feel now. People just wanting to constantly touch the stomach. I'm like, okay. I'm like, it's not my baby, but it feels like a little invasive that you want to touch this pregnancy belly so much.
My favourite thing in the verticals at the moment is obviously there's a lot with the pregnancy, is where it's used for the monologue. So it's like, soon as the leading lady found out she's pregnant, she's like, "Don't worry, baby." And it's like used
Yes.
for, rather than the monologue, she talks to the baby. "If I will not let them get you," and we'll, yeah, it's
All the time. It's so funny. And I think I was just joking with someone the other day where it's like the shift that can happen in these verticals sometimes. Like I think in Daisy Tucker, it happens at least 5 times where it's like, let's say I'm outside of my door right here and my husband is in here and I'm like, "Baby, we're going to like fall in love with your dad. Like we're going to tell him how we feel." And then you open the door and he's doing something like he's like talking to a girl and I'm like, "Sorry." And then I close the door and I'm like, "Baby, I guess your dad doesn't really love you and he doesn't want you at all." And I'm like, "Okay, that's a bit of a jump." I'm like, "How are we that volatile to like to like shift our mindset so quickly?"
yeah. Vertical characters really need to like stay longer for the conversation that they're overhearing, or
Definitely.
don't eavesdrop at all, because
Yes.
they always walk away and then you hear the rest of the conversation. It's like, "I might have liked her, but I don't like her now." But you've gone. The lady's off. And it's,
Exactly. Communication's key. I'm like, they need to like sit and talk. She needs to just be like, "Wait, what were you guys doing? Are you guys together? Am I reading the situation wrong? Like, where's our
relationship
questions and
counselors
answers?"
would do so well in Vertland. They would do so well. Like,
So good.
and talking of like fractured relationships, I have to go on
Mhm.
to obviously your biggest one, which is "Don't Miss Me When I'm Gone," and then I
Mhm.
sort of link it slightly to my Three Ungrateful Brothers Come Crawling Back, because they're kind of that similar vein of, I don't know, I would kind of say it's more like melodrama, like social
Yeah.
drama. That's kind of
Yeah.
the words I've heard of, basically a female character really having it thrown on her by
Yeah.
either family, or like there's a kind of cuckoo story in one of them, isn't there, where someone comes in and sort of tries to get her out of the family. Um, and then basically eventually overcoming and being able to sort of turn the table. So it's kind of like a younger revenge one, isn't it? I guess it's a
Definitely. I mean, I think with my Three Ungrateful Brothers, that one's interesting because I mean, it's hard to say when it comes to the violence level of both of them, they both have pretty intense moments, but I'd say that my Three Ungrateful Brothers is a bit more violent just because of the baseball bat scene.
yeah.
Um, which it's there's a theme that's arising in verticals with the female characters dying or nearly dying and then coming back for revenge, which it's nice in some ways that it's like it seems like people want these stories of female revenge and empowerment, but it's crazy the lengths that they have to go through to get to that revenge, I guess. It's an interesting shift that's happening in these projects.
Because there seems to be a shift, because there was a storyline that was popular earlier in the year, because obviously a lot of these come over from China and then kind of the sort of, and that was more that it starts with the female character dies because of
Yeah.
dreadful ex-partner, but then you don't really see much of the flashback, and it's all just about her coming back and she's got another chance, and basically,
Yeah.
"I'm not falling for your nonsense this time." Whereas I think the shift in these ones is that it's almost half of it is seeing how bad it is before then there's that chance to turn the tables and then get the revenge. And I guess it's, as a viewer, I personally can't really watch it. I find it hard to watch.
Yeah.
And I also think,
Yeah.
I'm sure for like all of you, that must be it's quite full on.
I mean, it's very intense. I've turned down projects since that have the same level of
Mm.
violence because those projects were ones that I didn't really think necessarily, I didn't know how they were going to be received. You know, like we're all just actors, you know, trying to get by. And so, you know, I never judge anyone for doing any stories, you know, so the people who have like done the stories that I've turned down, like no judgment at all, but they are very intense. And I think with Don't Miss Me When I'm Gone, especially because that one did so well, it's been very eye-opening to the viewers who are watching it because interestingly, Don't Miss Me When I'm Gone, the main audience for that is YA. Like it's similarly with Quarterback. I mean, it's very similar audiences. Actually, some of them want my character Daisy to end up with one of the brothers who, because they're my god brothers. They're not actually my siblings.
Let's just
In
clarify
my
that for the internet. This is it's all
yeah,
right, everyone.
because
You're
I
not
see
going there.
comments about it all the time too. They're like, didn't she say that? Doesn't she call their mom her aunt? So aren't they like related? And no, I'm not related to anyone in Don't Miss Me When I'm Gone, but I am in my three Ungrateful brothers. They are actually my brothers, but I don't have any romantic interest with them. But in Don't Miss Me When I'm Gone, yeah, a lot of the people wanted me to end up with one of the godbrothers who, abuses me, which I think is kind of like a weird subplot to the whole thing, because he does confess his love for me at a certain point. He's like, why would you be with him when I'm the one that's loved you all along? And it was like an interesting thing on set too of like in Don't Miss Me When I'm Gone, the direction was that everything that they were doing to me was an accident. Like him slapping me, like was because he thought that I was going to attack the sister, and he just like swung his arm out to be like, stop. But he ended up like slapping me across the face. Or when I fall down the stairs, which they actually ended up changing, he like straight up just pushes me down the stairs. But at first it was just like he's going to grab you by the collar and let you go, not thinking anything. And then you're just going to fall. So it was almost like it was my fault a little bit, which was a very interesting thing about that story. But it was very intense, especially because my character had asthma too. And so having to have like full-blown asthma attacks in that story as well, and like hyperventilate while I'm bleeding and crying and in like such emotional distress was very odd. But people loved it, which is very interesting to me, I guess. But again, sorry to go off on a tangent, but the weirdest thing to me is that people wanted me to end up with the godbrother, and it really opened my eyes to these stories and I guess the picture maybe that they're painting, and
which is, I think, the kind of worry, because obviously that's not a healthy
no,
relationship. I was basically like, thank goodness Jamie Donner turns up. I mean, I know it's not Jamie. My head is like, oh, thank goodness, we need a
Owen
green flag
Gray.
here to be a bit of a
No,
shining light. So yeah,
I know. And it is nice that he saves me, but also like Daisy does stick up for herself as much as she can. He just comes sort of in a way of like, whenever you need me, I'll be here. But like, you know, I'm not going to try to control the situation or
Daisy needs a
pretend that
win.
you can't stick up for
She
yourself.
needs someone. Daisy needs someone in her corner.
She does,
So I didn't
definitely.
see it as not empowering Daisy. I was like, finally, someone's with some sense in her corner.
Yeah. Although a lot of the comments are like, how come Daisy didn't stick up for herself? Which is honestly pretty true, but it's also like, what is she going to do? She's trying, you know?
Yeah.
She's just, I mean, she's being tossed around all the time. So it's hard. But yeah, those stories are big right now, and they need to be handled with care because they can get out of hand. And it's just important that we like think about who's watching these stories, because this could be someone's first exposure to a male-female relationship, you know?
Yeah.
It's silly to think that these projects don't have an impact especially when they're making them, some of them YA and for younger audiences to watch. And when they're sweet, it's great. But when they have really dangerous, abusive storylines, it's just something that that we all need to take a closer look at, because it's more impactful, I think, than we might think it is.
Because I think that's probably one of the things that's come out of verticals, isn't it? Of initially they're like, oh, they're a little thing on your phone, and this dawning realization that there's so many people all around the world watching them. I mean, obviously, Real Short are great because when you look at it, you get like, if you go through the app, you get millions of people who've had a look at this. I mean, how do you even wrap your head around some of those numbers?
I don't. I mean, I try, but it just feels like it just feels like a big number that I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
honestly. And I'm very grateful for it. But I think the way that it shows up the most for me is on my social media,
Yeah.
on TikTok and on Instagram, which are two very different audiences, actually, for these verticals. Because I feel like the Instagram audience is more engaged and they're avid vertical watchers, whereas the TikTok audience is more of like, this came up on my reel and now the algorithm's like showing me your content. They're probably not going to subscribe, and who even knows if they're actually going to pay to watch it. Like, they probably are just watching it on TikTok or one of the other apps where people re-upload these.
So do you get recognized in public?
I have not really. The only one that I have gotten recognized for was a very crazy situation. It was from Quarterback, but I was visiting my sister in New Jersey in January because she just had a baby, and I was walking her dog and I ran into her next door neighbor, who is like like a mom in her 30s, or like I believe. And I said hi and just, we had like a brief conversation, and then I go back inside and she texts my sister and she goes, "Oh my goodness, like I just watched The Quarterback Next Door and your sister is in The Quarterback Next Door." She was like, "I knew she was familiar, and when I talked to her, I ran inside and I realized where she was from." So that's the only time that I've been straight up recognized, and it was very early on, and just like the craziest situation. Like, my sister's next door neighbor. Like, that's so weird. I think that's also a vertical title. My sister's next door neighbor.
Yeah,
That could
it
work.
is. My sister's billionaire next door neighbor.
My sister's billionaire next door
To get
neighbor.
that or
That's really
Theo or something in.
yeah.
Because I think that's probably going to be the next stage, isn't it? I feel with verticals that you're all going to start getting a bit more recognized. I feel that that's probably the
Yeah.
next tipping point that will happen.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I haven't really been anywhere except to work, really. Like, I haven't really gone to see my family in the Midwest recently. And I know that's where a lot of the viewers are. So I don't know if maybe something will happen when I go to Michigan again, but we'll see. Yeah, but it hasn't really happened when I've been like in like Vietnam or China or Canada or anything like that. We'll see. I mean, the impact is huge. And at the very least, someone will have seen an ad, I think, even if they haven't watched the full product. But I just don't know if people will fully be able to make the connection, and recognize me flat out. But we'll see. You never know.
Right. Travel.
Yeah.
I mean, Vietnam. This is new. Turkey. Can we please share and give a little travel guide to places
Of
Cayla has filmed
course.
abroad and your thoughts about it all?
Definitely. I mean, yeah, this year alone, I've been to Vietnam, China, Turkey, Canada, and then I've also traveled to Atlanta and New York for these. So I've been to 6 different places for these projects, and I love traveling. It's one of those things. I mean, I've always been very independent my whole life. Like, I think the first time I ever flew on an airplane by myself, I was 8. And so I've never had an issue traveling by myself. I love seeing the world. And it's amazing that these verticals have allowed me to do that.
What were kind of the differences? Are there differences of like just how the film sets work, I guess, in a real specific work?
I think it's sort of a universal language, if I'm honest. I don't notice anything so different. Honestly, what's been amazing for me is watching how much of a universal language it is. I go to Turkey and there's like these men who just like love in their downtime, like setting up lights and, like getting beautiful shots of film. Just the way that it's so the same all
Yeah.
around the world. Is really, really fun to be around. Of course, the people are different, and I think the language barrier is something that prevents me from fully getting to know everyone who's on the sets. But the only thing that I really noticed too is the hours that they work. Especially in China and Vietnam. Yeah, China, I had a 20-hour workday when I was there. My call time was 6:30 a.m. and we wrapped at 2:30 a.m.
Yeah.
The next day. That's the only thing that really sticks out as glaringly different, and it was a little bit stressful, but I loved traveling. Vietnam was so beautiful, and the food was amazing, and very cheap, which was great. I got like 3 massages while I was there. It was fantastic.
Oh. That's what I like. That's sort of thoughtful. It's like, yes, take advantage of that. Yeah.
So peaceful. Yeah. And it was like they were hot stone massages. It was great. It was honestly so great. I loved it. And then China, the food once again was amazing. I'm a big foodie. And so getting to eat food in all these places has been really, really great. But I saw the terracotta warriors in China, and that was a really, really fun thing to be able to see. It's just fun to explore these places that truthfully I hadn't really planned on going to.
Yeah.
At least not at this point in my life.
Oh.
Those are always the most fun adventures, are the ones that you don't expect to happen.
And just amazing that that's all come through little verticals on your phone.
So wild. Yeah.
So I have to ask, when you're looking at projects now, so I'm guessing, are you at the stage where are you auditioning for verticals, or is it more you're getting approached for things?
It's more of getting approached. My manager and I have talked about this, but we ask if they'll just send me straight to chemistry reads or callbacks. But I will audition from time to time if it's a project that I really care about and I love the story and I want to show them that I am taking it super serious.
Yeah. I guess where I was trying to lead with that was more about what are you looking for now? Now that you're in that position where I guess you can have a little bit of choice. You looking for that you're like, actually, that's one that excites me.
I've been taking a break for a month now, I'd say, since I worked on a set. And part of that is by choice. Actually, no, it's pretty entirely by choice because I have been turning down projects that just don't sit right with me, that are so obviously about a shock factor and not for the sake of telling a good story.
Mm.
Or it's the same stuff that I've done. I personally don't want to do the same things that I've been doing, even though I've done a lot of those, like even just like the sweet rom-coms. Even though I've done a handful of them and I will continue, the stories are still all different. You know, they all come in like different packages. And even if it does have the same message, like they're still different stories and I enjoy them. So that's, I think, the main thing for me is like a story that's unique and that I identify with myself. One that is not overly violent or sending a wrong message to the audience. Yeah, which again, I mean, I don't blame anyone for taking any jobs. You know, we're all actors, and I think sometimes it can get scary and you're like, oh no, I don't have anything. I feel like I should say yes to a project just to like stay in practice, which is a good way to think about it. But it's just a very slippery slope once you start saying yes to everything. And you can lose sight of like what's really important and what the point is if you're not being choosy with what you're selecting. So yeah, I mean, and I even try on these to rewrite some scenes, honestly, before. I sent this I didn't end up working on the project, but I sent like I went through the script and picked out every single scene that had like violence against a woman or a line that was overly just like disturbing and vulgar. I listed them and I was like, these are the changes we have to make if you guys want me for this. And they were actually pretty receptive to it. I think the executive producer just ended up going in a different direction. I don't know if it was because of that, but I don't feel bad about doing that anymore because I think it's important. And it's not that, I'm trying to be a diva or like have too much control. But I think if we don't speak up, I mean, these are our faces, you know what I mean? Like that are being put out there and people are going to associate us with these things. And especially in these verticals where it's like typecasting is such a big thing that happens. Like with, Don't Miss Me When I'm Gone. Like I'll be super honest, Real Short reached out to me about another project where I get bullied in the same way. And I couldn't do it. It just is too much. It's too much to have to go through that. I guess I'm not sure what the goal of those stories are other than shocking people and making people feel unsettled, I guess.
I think that's the real challenge with verticals, isn't it? Because we know that it's a money game when it comes down to the end of it. That's partly why are all these jobs, because they're making money because people are paying it. And a lot of people are brought in through the marketing, because whenever I talk to fellow fans, it's like, how did you find verticals? It's Facebook ads, it's TikTok ads.
Of course.
So that's how people find them. And then we also know that what is more likely to get found on social media, well, we know that's sex and violence. We know that shock thing will pull people in. So it's like working out where that line is. And I think because it's all so new, that's kind of almost everyone in the industry, that's what we're all trying to figure out now, isn't it? Of like, okay, that's all right, but that's not. And that's why I've started speaking out, because I've stuck my name all over this. And it's like, well, I kind of tie my integrity to it. And I think that's why probably a lot of the actors and actresses as well. And it's like, I think it's just, we're all figuring it out. And actually it becomes clearer of like, okay, no, that's too much now, but that's all right. And then that serves a purpose. And so I think it's partly the mess, but also maybe almost the joy of just being in such a new industry that we are just figuring it all out.
Yeah, we are figuring it out. And I think that's what's beautiful about it is I think a lot of actors are turning to writing themselves because they, like including myself, we're so sick of like waiting for a certain project to come about that we're like, we'll just do it ourselves, And, of course, there is a certain style of writing that you have to abide by with verticals. And so that's sort of the give and take of it is just, really wanting to like write a good story, but then having to have these like action grabby moments that hook people in, because that's what's really bringing in the money. But I think that's something great that's happening is that people are writing scripts and wanting to see more diversity and wanting to change. Like I love talking to other vertical actors about it and like knowing that we're all on the same page. It's just sort of figuring out like where we go. And I think it's like the small steps. And I think, I think because it's so new too, I do think that a lot of the apps actually are more open to experimentation than people give them credit for. Just think sometimes they experiment and they really like put a lot into it and then it doesn't do well. And then they get scared off by that, which is understandable. Yeah. But it's like we should still keep trying, I think.
Yeah.
Is the biggest thing. Just keep trying and experimenting. Yeah. And figure it out.
Now, this is very handy that you talk about writing, given we now know that you're an English major.
Mm-hmm.
So can we take that as you are also writing?
Yeah. I love writing, always have. And yeah, I have like a bunch of ideas that I've started writing. I haven't like fully finished a script yet, but a lot of like female empowerment stories where like females are the main focuses. Maybe there's a love interest. And it's things where it's even like there might be some violence, because I think that like action definitely is its own category. And that's like violence isn't always bad, but violence for just the sake of violence is what's bad, and like a shock factor again. But there are some projects that I have in mind where you know, women are in these like really dangerous scenarios and it's just them like fighting their way out of it together. Yeah.
Because we all
And
know,
so there's like,
we all want that because it's the
yeah,
common refrain of often, your close friends with other actresses and you don't get to work together. Because
yeah,
normally it's leading lady, leading gentleman. If you get someone else in, you're lucky. And so, yeah, we
exactly.
want you all united, and the fans want that as well. So
I think so. I really do think so. And the men are great. They're great, love them. But I think the women can do so much if we're given the opportunity to work together. And I think people would be really amazed.
well, the men want to do it as well because they're a bit.
Yeah.
They want to do like Ocean's 11 or something. They're like, we never get through. Like
Yeah.
everyone would be happy. Everyone wins.
That would be fun. Yeah. That would be fun. And I just love how many actors are just taking control and doing it. Like Campus Rivals, that's a big one. Yeah, there's just so many. And then like Dungeons of Ecstasy, which I know like Felix just produced. And I know you guys had like the producing panel at VertFest too. And so it's great. It's great that everyone's, pitching in and really just taking control. So
Okay, this is just a really nerdy question. So when you're writing, okay, it came out at VertFest that the writing panel basically should have been sponsored by a notes app because everyone was like, that's where they
yeah.
put everything in their notes app. Are you the same or do you have a notebook?
Yeah, so I have a lot of stuff in my notes app for sure. And then Google Docs is a big one for me too. I like to just like write everything down in like one like 10-page thing of like all the beats that I want to have in a script. I know like Natty from Natalia,
Yeah.
I call her Natty, but from The Quarterback Next Door, she plays Addie. She's my roommate, and we like sat down once and we were just brainstorming Quarterback Next Door too, like all the ideas that we had for it. And so I'm really hoping we can get some of those in. Honestly, listen, I know we don't have that much say, but Skylar Heron will be bisexual. If it's the last thing I do, Skylar Heron will be bisexual and she will explore that in Quarterback Next Door too.
Excellent. You heard it here first, people, and we are going to make it
Yes,
happen.
it
It will
has to.
happen.
Yeah.
So you've been amazing and you shared so much. So I have two final questions for you. Could you tell us about one or two upcoming projects that are not yet released that you are excited about? We should look forward to seeing you in.
Definitely. So I have two for Viglu. Love you, Viglu, if you're watching this, that I filmed. One was my Vietnam project. That one's called Spring Break Bucket List. And it's a very, it's a Romeo and Juliet go on spring break story.
Oh,
So it's very interesting. And I am very excited for that to come out. It should be at the end of September. When that comes out. So I'm very excited. And then my other one for Viglu is called I Slept with My Dad's Best Friend. And that one was just an amazing project because our director, Audrey, she also directed I Found a Homeless Billionaire for Christmas. I think that's what it's called. The one with Seth and Nicole. She directed that one as well. And she is just such a fantastic person. She lives in Atlanta and she really wanted that story. Like she honestly rewrote a lot of the script for it. Because she has this beautiful way of looking at verticals as exactly what we were talking about earlier, where it's like this could be someone's first time watching two people be intimate together. So the way that we have to showcase that has to be layered with consent and with excitement and with like ongoing check-ins to make sure that everyone's like okay and enjoying the situation. Because regardless of how, people think about these verticals, there's so many eyes on them. And yeah, both of those, I have some like steamier scenes, which Spring Break Bucket List was the very first time that I, experimented with that sort of intimacy. And I feel much more comfortable with it now. And I think they add to the story. They're not just like there for the sake of, once again, a shock factor. And so I'm really excited for both of those. And then I like really cannot say too much about this one, but Chris and I are doing one at the end of September, and it's another really sweet rom-com, and it's a lot of inspiration for it is based on one of my favorite childhood books. But I'm really excited for that one as well. And my Drama Pops one that I did in Turkey is going to be
Is that
a
that was
really...
another YA one, wasn't it? Was that one?
Yeah. That one's called The Summer I Turned Bad. And they might change the title, but that one was with Felix and Sydney Culberton, and it's like I don't know. I love ones where there's like I don't know how else to describe it, but like Spring Break bucket list, like my character has an actual bucket list that like drives the story. Like she's trying to do all of these things during spring break. And then similarly with The Summer I Turned Bad, like there's something that I'm learning how to do in that. And it's like,
She's
there's
got
a lot of like
by the
title
sounds of it,
cards.
there's a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love when there's like title cards that pop up and there's like, we're at this point in the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think those are really fun. So, yeah, I don't really do projects I'm not excited about. So I feel like all of them I'm very, very stoked to come out.
So just finally, who are the people you love then? As in actors, actresses that inspire you?
Outside of the verticals, right?
It can be inside and outside, dead or alive.
Yeah. I mean, okay, I gotta shout out, like some of my friends, Tess and Jess. I love both of them so much. Sydney Culbertson as well. Those are my girls. And then...
So that's Tess Amelia and Jessica Jacoby, just in case people don't know.
And then Sydney Culbertson as well. And then... I mean, I love, from a male co-star perspective, like Elijah Van Zanten, Richard Shara, Jennings Brower, Noah Fernley, Chris Quartuccio, like there's Felix Murback, like every male co-star I've worked with, I love. So love them all. They're really great, and I feel like I learn something from them every time we're together. And I haven't really been on set with Tess and Jess, but we're always just like talking about acting and just real life, and it's really great to have them. But from the bigger film and TV world perspective, I love Emma Stone. She's one of my favorites. She just can do every role and nails it. She's great at comedy, she's great at drama, she can sing, she can dance, she can act. She's just the whole package. Love her. So love her, love Anne Hathaway, Meryl Streep. Yeah, I think those are the main ones that are coming to my head. And then I love Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is my all-time favorite actor. Yeah. I really love
can do no wrong.
Projects. He can't. He really can't. All of his projects have so much heart and love, and they're great. Yeah. I really, really love him.
I can't thank you enough, because you've been an absolute superstar, and you've spent an hour chatting and you shared so much.
I loved it. It didn't even feel like an hour. It felt like 5 minutes.
Okay, that's good. That's a good sign.
Yeah, no, not at all. Oh my God. We can go on and on, I feel like.
So yeah, just huge thanks for all the wonderful projects you've had out already and all the great ones we've got to look forward to. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, Jen. Are you kidding me? Thanks for championing us so hard and speaking out for what you believe in, and, always supporting us, and knowing that you have our backs is honestly what keeps a lot of us going. So thank you as well.